Title.
Alrighty, I believe we are absolutely ready to go and we look to be live. So, hello everyone. Uh, I'm an idiot, and also my name is Voxy, and
I am Ndeniku, otherwise known as Daniel.
also known
Extra
as an
idiot over
idiot.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that you'll see that. I did this really cute little point over to you on the stream. So, you'll see that later. It was pretty cute. I'm gonna do that from
Mm.
now on. I'm an idiot. Moving on.
So the delay issues seem to be much more reduced. I can see myself
Yes,
scratch my nose
yes,
about now. So that's good.
yes. We,
Today we're
we
going to
have
be
been
talking.
plagued with technical difficulties
Oh yes.
a number of times, and we still seem to be battling with a couple here and there. But aside from that, all seems to be quite well. So anyway, we have
Good
quite a
morning.
lot to talk about. Good morning. Good morning. Good
Mm.
morning. Good morning. Sorry, this isn't Truck Sim. I've been in Truck Sim quite a number of times, but this is the other live stream that we do. Hello, hello, hello. And in these streams, yeah, we sort of just discuss all the weird and wonderful things happening around the world, and of course, invite you all to join in on the discussion as well.
Ooh, I can pop out live chat. That's nice.
Oh, well, that's
Okay.
pleasant.
So I think we're going to start with this whole court case that is happening and taking the world by
Yes.
storm. So controversial and so yeah. Um, so you actually got a question in one of your truck sim thingamabobs, and I think we'll start there. Everyone's sort of seen the court case between Amanda Heard and Johnny Depp, so I don't think we need to go into details of what's happening.
Yeah.
Um, but this question I thought actually was a very interesting question to have a look at, and that is the Me Too movement affected by Amber Heard's case in a
Hmm.
negative way? Like, is it is it
I think it was like,
destroying?
is it discrediting? Is she being
Yeah.
used to discredit? I think it was like, yeah, is Amber Heard being used to discredit the Me Too movement?
Mm,
And it's an
thoughts?
interesting thing to raise because that would insinuate, that
Mm,
would assume that
mm,
that she is in fact being used at all as some form of
yeah.
messaging device or as some
Yeah.
form of billboard. But it then
Yeah.
raises into question what the Me Too movement is really about. Because how can you discredit something like a Me Too movement when it really shouldn't be a movement at all? It should just be good formed awareness on the fact that if you have been a victim of abuse, you have a right in the court of law to make sure
Uh,
that you receive the appropriate reprimand on the person who perpetrated what happened.
so I
Yes.
want to just say this is what, at least definitionally, or what I think it means, I guess.
Yeah.
The Me Too movement, it actually came out quite a while ago. It's not actually very much of a new thing. The whole
Mm.
idea of it is that um, people should be able to um, publicly broadcast um, the fact that they have been either abused or assaulted or taken advantage of.
Also, it's like public
Mm.
broadcasting.
Yeah, it's more specifically to do with that. It has sort
Okay.
of shifted a bit into
Okay.
people trying to do it in court and that sort of thing, which, that, yeah, I agree. It shouldn't even be thought of as a movement. It's just the law, and the law is the
Yeah,
law.
so in that case, my understanding was wrong. Um,
Mm.
and in that case, Yeah, okay, so that makes more sense. So my understanding then is, and again, I'm gonna have to reference to my own experiences of abuse here, but is the fact that um, in my case, um, movement or not, um, I was not able to use the name of the person who did what they did in such a confident and comfortable way. And the thing I find interesting about the case with Amber Heard that's happening at the moment is the fact that she's had her legal team's preferred psychologist of choice, which there's a few issues that come into bias with that, but it's difficult because the moment that you hire anyone, the argument will always be made that naturally there is a bias.
Mm.
But again, that's also, there's ethics that come into question, and they should always be working on that code of ethics more than anything else. But um, but you look at this whole movement of broadcasting what has happened to yourself. I think it is very important that you feel that people feel that they have the ability to speak up. Um,
Mm.
uh, it's just interesting to me because in my case, if the Me Too movement is publicly outing someone, I can understand where that mindset will come from because I feel that still today. But I fought against it because I couldn't say the name of the person, and
Mm.
because I couldn't see the face of the person. Because when you're abused and you have quite severe post-traumatic stress disorder, that's it. You're now done. And of course, Amber Heard was diagnosed by her legal team's psychologist as having post-traumatic stress disorder, yet the clinical psychologist on um, sorry, I don't actually know whether Dr. Curry was clinical psychologist or not, but she did not evaluate Amber Heard as having a post-traumatic stress disorder, and then you look at the way that she's behaving in court, it would sort of
Yeah, it's
my
definitely a lot
understanding of
of
PTSD is it
deception.
makes sense. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
So,
I want to harken back a bit. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page and maybe play devil's advocate for a second.
oh good,
Um, oh, good. Yes.
oh good.
Uh, so with the Me Too movement, and we are at the moment just assuming that it is defined by somebody outing someone or publicly
Yeah,
shaming someone or just telling a story and including their names
yeah,
so that everyone knows it's them online and publicly.
yeah,
And the Me Too movement saying that that is okay and you can do that and you should be able to do that.
yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on that? Is that something that you think is is that something that you would advocate for as a movement? That everybody should be feeling very comfortable to behave this way?
Hmm. Hmm. What do our friends in the comments section think? Help me out, please. No, but like, please do. Uh, hmm, hmm. Um, I know that in my depressive state, when I'm really, really unwell, I
Mm,
feel my answer to you would be a resounding yes.
mm,
And contrary to that, in this moment, see, even Robert Gardner doesn't know, which brings me joy.
Yeah, it's tricky.
It's
It is a really tricky
yeah,
topic, right?
yeah,
It's not so simple where you just say,
mm,
ah, this is the answer, It's more like,
yeah, because
maybe.
here's the bit that I get sort of hung up on, and that is that in Australia, my understanding of defamation law is it's not defamation if it's true, which means that
Same everywhere.
you've already got the ability to defame someone, but in the case that you're actually not even defaming them, like that's just is
Yeah,
how it
you
is.
have to be able to prove that what you're saying is true as well,
Yeah,
and that's really difficult when it comes to things like that.
yeah, and that's the next thing too that I get really fed up on. Also, hello, Iru, hello, hello, hello. Um, uh,
Mm.
uh, it's the thing that really hurts my brain is I think the only way of proving that it's true seems to be with a jury, as opposed to because you can't present facts unless you've got them, right? And what are your
Mm.
facts going to be? In my
Mm.
case, right? So look at what happened in my world where I had all of this stuff happen. If I was to be questioned on what happened and my psychologist was to have to testify in court, he would say that, well, we've been talking about this topic for X amount of years, many, many, many years. And in those years, from point A to point B, the consistency of telling the story has been there. Now, I watched a thing on a behavioral analyst about the whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case, and he
Mm.
pointed that out that when Johnny Depp was in a position of explaining the story about his finger, he made some of the same jokes or inferences and had the same
Mm.
pacing and wording. And I feel what happens in those moments. This is off the original question, sorry. But what happens in those moments is we can actually develop a script and a dialogue so that when we discuss a traumatic event or story that's
Mm.
truly, genuinely traumatic, we actually rehearse an unlived event of it. And the unlived event of it, we do not, when we recall the words in that, we do not relive the traumatic event. Because if we had to recall the traumatic event and start piecing together exactly what happened every time we talk about it, you'd have a panic attack. And so, for those who have experienced real trauma, they will actually rehearse a little falsified a story of it, basically, and kind of yeah falls
Yeah,
in that. Also,
I wanna kind of put a counterpoint to that, but yes, we are talking about the herd clash today.
yeah, yeah, we've
Yeah.
started straight into the spicy stuff because there's it's funny because we both have a really good understanding of what's happening because we both have post-traumatic stress disorder, both from relationships, both from abuse and manipulation and gaslighting,
Mm.
and but in my case, I did not go to court, but I didn't go to court because I could not, and Daniel was forced into court where he did not want to go. It should have been avoided. The whole thing should have been avoided, but it was not, and it was all done against his will. And he got to see the legal system from
Mm.
the standpoint of an ex-partner, which was female, suing Daniel, which
Pressing charges, yeah.
is yeah pressing charges, which is comes under this domestic abuse umbrella, which everything gets quite interesting and quite touchy because we have laws and procedures in Australia that I didn't know of, which is where if there is a case that is violence from a male towards a female, in Victoria, it is, I think it's both of our understanding, is that right, that they have to take up the case. They have to investigate the case and immediately put a
They
hold onto
have
the case.
any domestic violence in general. So if it's
So
man,
it is
woman,
in
woman,
general.
man,
So it's not
in general,
okay.
it's not actually sexist.
Yeah,
But the
I
thing
thought I thought
is,
it was sexist at the start, but may have been years ago that we discussed that, and I just picked up on it.
it
So
is,
that's good that
yeah,
it's not sexist.
it's not technically that, right? But
Okay.
it's tricky, and like when you talk about law, it can't be sexist, right? So
Yeah.
they have to not do that.
Yeah.
But
Good. Okay. Good.
the thing is, right? Um, what guys do you know that will honestly speak up? First off, even speak up and say that they have been abused in any sort of way.
Yeah.
The other thing is, what guys do you know who actually understand that they're being abused in any sort of way by a woman? Um, like, do they even know that it's happening? Or do they just think that they were reacting? Um,
Well, normally you're being gaslit by that point, or you're being
yeah,
manipulated,
yeah,
and so
yeah,
there could be emotional abuse that has led the person that's in that position to
mm,
being in a state of Stockholm syndrome, where
mm,
basically you feel like they are the person who is responsible for your life or death, because it genuinely felt that way for me in my
yeah.
relationship.
Your world sort of revolves around them for a bit.
Yeah, and any time that there's any form of positivity that comes back from them, you latch onto that positivity and hold it because that's their way of telling you that they love you. But actually, it's not positivity. It was just a day with no abuse. It was just a
Mm,
moment with no abuse. And that no abuse is seen as positive because it resets your understanding of what is negative and positive, because you're always living in a state of negativity. It's just a
yep.
question of how much extra negative is it in that moment of what it is that they're doing or saying or feeling or thinking towards you. Um, and it 100% is what you just said, where you don't know, and then you're out of it, and then all of a sudden, when do you know? You don't know straight
Uh,
away,
yeah. And
not
even
always.
when even when you are out of it, you don't exactly want to go and attack the other person, really. You sort of just
Yes,
want to run
there's
away and hide.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
Um,
yeah,
so the I want to go back a few steps and then back a few steps again. So with the Victorian, at least, court system, when it comes to pressing charges against physical violence or something like that, basically what happens is you go in there, and no matter how mutual any violence was, no matter, even if, let's say, I was, um, let's say I abused somebody for years on end, and then they hit me once, I
yeah,
could take them to court about that and then try to charge them for them hitting me, and they couldn't say anything about the years of abuse I did unless it happened in that moment and it was a self-defense thing. So if it wasn't a self-defense thing, all of that other abuse doesn't even come into question.
yeah, right.
And you can't, and what it looks like to the other side, especially if you're a guy, and this is where it's tricky. It's not like, it's more of a depends on the magistrate sort of thing. But if you are a guy and you try to do that, it looks like you're victim blaming and victim shaming. And so
Yes,
it's actually bad on your behalf to say, I actually went through some stuff.
yeah,
And so it just makes you lose more, and more punishment will occur for you. Um,
yep, yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So
And
it's a bit
and what
tricky,
can you
right?
do? Um, and also, Dang, so if he was taken to court, I'm guessing he was sued for defamation from the ex. So it wasn't defamation that Daniel was sued for. It was that's something that you can discuss. I certainly can't.
Yeah,
Um,
so um, I have to make sure I word things carefully. Um,
yes.
It's
Okay, enter
important.
lawyer mode. One sec, there's a button here for lawyer mode. Where's the button for lawyer mode? Anyway, moving
Yeah.
on.
So
I'll fix
I
it
was
later, don't
in
worry.
I was in a relationship for many years. Um, at first it was really nice. I thought it was a lovely relationship. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and we were always having a good time. Um, and then it started to devolve. Um, the other person would be less and less rational, less and less open to discussing things in a way that adults, I think, should. Um, and there started being like elements of physically controlling um, me. They would physically control my movements and what I was doing. And if they didn't like something that I was doing, they would uh, essentially make it impossible for me to leave the situation. And so that would happen. And then after that, there would be periods of back to being good. And this went on for a few years. Uh, and every time we were in the good stage, I would try to bring up those times and really just, you know, go through it and say, this can't happen. We need to be adults about this sort of thing. Um, and she would agree, and things would be good for a while. And then it would just, as things went on, the um, the abuse would get more complex because she was trying, I assume, trying to fit within the discussions that we had, um, which was rather fascinating. And it got to the point where I thought that I was, such a terrible human because I couldn't do anything right. And yeah, eventually I had a mini, uh, for about a month. I was in fairly extreme case of psychosis. And this was due to the amount of stress I was under, the fact I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't able to eat or keep down food properly. Um, and I hardly remember anything during that time. Mr. Voxy took me to a place where, but he took me to a place where I could be away from that environment, and I stayed there for about a month and recovered. And during that recovery, I realized not quite the depth of what was happening, but I could at least see how bad it all was. And so coming out of that, I ended the relationship and I left. Now, months later, the other person would try to um, initiate calls and start arguments again and try to control whatever my being was at the time. And so I blocked her number and sort of said no more. And because I blocked her number and she couldn't control me anymore, her response to that was to press charges against me for physical violence and to um, place a restraining order. Now, the charges that she tried to press ranged from things that might have happened, which I don't know because I was in psychosis and I can barely remember anything, to things where I know for a fact they didn't happen. Like she said that I broke a broom trying to attack her with it, which is a pretty extreme thing to say and charge someone for. Um, and that I could actively disprove because I had the broom. We only had one broom, and I had it in my possession at the
It
time.
makes you feel good.
Oh, it makes me feel like I'm less crazy.
Oh,
Um,
but I mean, like, I'm talking this moment now. It makes you feel good. Not back then. Back then, it made you feel like you were disproving craziness, but as you
mm.
say, but
Yeah, it now looking back at it, I
yeah.
it just it's just upsetting. And even though I, uh, as Adonis says, caught them in a lie, all that did for the charges she was pressing would mean that that particular charge was dropped. It didn't have the effect of discrediting anything else. So the police officers were charging me for, technically it's the police officers that were charging me. So the police officers were charging me for 9 different things. 6 of them were thrown out because of either lack of evidence or I could provide something that said, no, you're wrong and here's why. But that had no bearing on the remaining 3. So that happened. Um, yeah. And so, regardless of how much I went through, because she were put the case forward first, and I'm personally someone. Yes, even though I could prove they were lying or I could prove they didn't have evidence for the other things, that never gets to the magistrate. That's something that's talked about between the constable and the lawyer that I had before it gets to the magistrate. And so yeah, it's all very tricky. Um,
Just keep in mind here that obviously we are talking about um, this is a real case that has happened that Daniel has experienced, and it is a case that happened in Australia, in the state of Victoria, and so
mm,
anything that we're talking about here, this isn't, you know, to say that the same thing would happen elsewhere in the world. It may
mm,
do. It may happen everywhere else in the world as well. We just don't know. But what we do
mm,
know is that this was real, this did happen, and that, like, just in regards to this whole Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case, it's just fascinating how we're both in a position where we have a fair bit of real life experience, unfortunately, about
mm,
some of the topics that are coming up, even if it's in a different legal system, different part of the planet. The psychological element of what is occurring here, and the processing and the order in which people will process things, keeping in mind that everyone reacts differently, everyone processes trauma differently.
mm,
But there are still those basic hallmarks of post traumatic stress disorder. And, the fact that, you were led into a state of psychosis, and then, like, surrounding that, just immense dissociation for however long, is,
yeah.
yeah, sort of
It
like,
took me about a year or two to
yeah.
begin um, properly living in the life I'm in,
Out
I
of
would say.
out of curiosity, um, would you if your case was put forward in the way that the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard case is being done in front of a jury,
Mm.
how do you feel that would have gone in front of a jury?
Hard to say.
Yeah. I know
And
that's like what ifs are pointless
it's
because we can't rewind
no,
time, but
yeah, but
it's
no,
still
it's hard
interesting,
to
I
say
think.
because of things like the Me Too movement. And
Yeah.
um, one thing, one result of me having charges pressed was that I had to do a men's behavioral change program.
Yeah.
And
We'll do a full video on that, definitely, but it's
yeah,
there's a lot
uh,
to discuss about that side of the legal
yeah,
system.
the long and short of it is, um, I would present what happened to me in that situation. And we had a counselor and a um a lady who has been doing this for a while, both running the program, and their responses to me, and I spoke with other professionals as well who are educated apparently in um, domestic violence and male aggression. And their ideas on all of it is basically that um, it doesn't matter.
What
And that
doesn't matter?
um, anything surrounding um, me losing myself doesn't matter.
Yep.
It was my choice to stay. It was my choice to, everything was just my choice,
Apparently, that's
apparently.
yep. Yeah, that's what they believed, and so they said you had a choice. Now that would be the same as saying to me that I had a choice to be abused, and
Mm,
it's like, well, technically, I suppose I had a choice whether or not I woke up in the morning, so I guess you're right. But what a
mm.
thing to say to someone
Yeah,
when they've just come out of hell, like they've actually escaped hell, they've dabbed
yeah,
their way out of hell, and it's hard to dab your way out of hell, right? It's not easy, you know.
yeah.
You can laugh, but you know it's not easy. You did it. Look at you.
Mm.
You know, you can't undo that
Sometimes you
damage.
don't get a choice.
Yeah,
The thing that really struck me, and I really tried to push back at these people who are apparently professionals and apparently educated, I would always push back and say, well, look, if you had a if you had a woman come to you who said, I didn't think I had the chance to leave. I didn't think I had the choice to leave. You would know exactly where they're coming from, and you would say, no, I know how much you felt that, and I know how hard it was for you, and we're going to give you the opportunity to leave, or something like that, or wait, or I'm so glad you got out of there, sort of thing. But in my case, what I got was, you bloody well had the choice to leave, and every negative thing that happened was your decision. Own it. You're a man. So it's an interesting. We're still there, sort of thing.
mm,
irony of extremists victimizing an actual victim when they would cry wail if someone asked a woman to present evidence or elaborate claiming it's victimizing
Yeah.
wolf.
There's only so much one can dab in the comments section.
Mm.
It is the whole thing is, yeah, it's really um it's it's really disgusting um to hear of what it was that you endured, because I remember at the time that you were going through it, and this is what I find quite nuts about dealing with trauma, because you're actually in that in that class, you were actually being re-traumatized. There's no question about it. You ask any clinical psychologist, I am 100% firm on that belief that they will all tell you that you've been re-traumatized being in that place,
Mm.
because you're clumped with an association of your peers. So when you look left and right and you see the people that you're sharing the room with, you've been told that you are as much of a dog as your peers to the left and right of you, and that you are a dog and that you needed to be obedient, but you were not obedient, and as such you need to be punished, basically, is the way that they were sort of treating it for you, except much worse.
It was a different type of gaslighting as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
when I were to bring forward some of these thoughts in a more descriptive way, um, the other men in the room would laugh, and then the two people running the program would tell me, um, or they would say how I can look at it differently. I think that's the wording that they would use if they were here to speak for themselves.
Yeah.
But all it really was them telling me how it's my fault.
Yeah, which is gaslighting 100%. And how to look at it differently and just replying with that straight away is gaslighting, because it's like you've actually ignored every single thing that has been heard in your cry for help, in your
Mm.
need to be heard. And this is after all of everything that has happened, after this court debacle that you have been dragged into against your will. And again, going back to the whole Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, and the poop in the bed saga and everything else that has happened over those years, it's interesting in that case, you parallel to every experience that you're having, and then you look at the way that Johnny Depp has handled the situation. It would seem as though there's a parallel that is to be drawn between you and him, in a different way, because different things happened to
Mm.
different severities, and also a different lifestyle. When
I didn't
you
get my
know
finger half cut off, so that's a
you did
thing.
not get your finger half cut off, but you got your brain cut out, and that was called psychosis.
Yeah.
And you lived to tell the tale. So that was
And
kind of cool.
so that whole spiel, I guess, is coming back to the question of whether the Me Too movement is affected by this case. I hope to God so. And here's why. As you said, it shouldn't be a movement. I don't think it should be a
Mm.
movement. And I don't think that the ability for people to publicly shame others is a good idea, because in most cases there's always two sides to the coin.
Yeah, there's a
I
lot of
could
potential for mass damage
mm,
to occur recklessly and unthoughtfully, which is
mm,
hard because when you're in the state where you want to speak up, there is the propensity to not care at all because you've now dehumanized them, because you need to be able to classify that monster who did what they did as a monster. However, it's you don't want to be in that state when you're also fueled by rage or by impulsivity. Whereas you look at where I'm at, and I believe where you're at in your position, because I believe you've processed, I think, everything that has happened in that relationship of yours.
I
But
have processed as much as I can by myself.
okay, well then yeah, then that is continuing until there's reason to believe that you're at that end point of processing it all. Um, so I can speak from my experience, having done EMDR and processed the that abuse incident. Um, if I was to look at the Me Too movement and look at what that person did, um, I know that legally it's not defamation if it's true. I know that I have the potential to attract negative attention for myself if I was to go out and start naming names and saying, well, this person did this, that person did that, and I want this to be public and to be shared, not privately messaged between one person to another. Um, but I look at that drive to make it fully public. Again, I'm not fueled now by rage. I'm not fueled by anything other than total disgust and repulsion
Yeah.
towards the criminal who did a criminal thing to my body. And in the case of anyone in that is um, in a position where they are, oh, I don't want to say that. No, I don't want to say influenced by, because it's not that would assume that everyone is influenced by it. It's really hard because again, it's like it makes sense why it's there, and it's something that you need to support people who are genuine victims. Um, but things need to happen in a responsible and sensible
Well,
and helpful process so that you can facilitate a good, effective healing journey coming out of it.
yeah,
And that should be something where your court of law is used,
I
and
don't think so.
you don't think so?
No, I don't think. How do I say this?
I don't know.
I think that what Johnny Depp is doing makes a lot of sense, and he should do what he's doing.
Yeah, suing
I
for
don't
defamation.
think,
There's nothing wrong with
yeah,
suing for defamation.
he is not charging Amber Heard for abuse.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes a lot of sense to it's tricky.
You're not going to say to charge someone from abuse. I know that much.
I
But
don't
if
think it makes a lot of sense from a perspective of healing to charge someone for abuse. I
at
think it makes sense as a from a perspective of not allowing this to happen to somebody else, and from a protective standpoint for the others. But if it's just to do with healing your own being, retaliation of any kind, I don't think is particularly helpful.
I would, um, respectfully be in disagreement with one part of that, and that is that if I did not have to go to as much therapy as I've been to, I could have bought my mum a brand new car.
Yeah.
And we would, at the time, as a family, we had to sell the caravan, right? We
Yeah.
had a caravan. We used to go camping. We had to sell that because of my need to see a psychologist, and at that time, it was not known at that time that I had PTSD, but the effects of PTSD were already taking effect. They were already there. You just don't know that it's PTSD yet until you have the flashback, and all of a sudden your psychologist goes, hang on a sec, buddy. You just said all of the alarm bells. Okay, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna ask some questions here, and we're gonna test this and see. And all of a sudden they go, yep, you've had PTSD since that day to now.
Yeah.
In the part that I'm disagreeing with is the fact that his family, the person who abused me, his family was incredibly wealthy, and they could afford the brand new car for my mum, worth of a therapy that I had to do and am still doing, because I'm still having to do therapy. All right. And so now that's the part that's different, right? That's different, but it's
Yeah,
also the
you're
same
talking about
thing.
them paying for, yeah,
Yes, but it's the
what you're
same thing
talking
because
about
you
is
sue
them.
them,
Yeah,
right? And so
I
now it's
just
in the
mean
same
to,
boat, but it's
yeah,
different because I'm not putting them in prison, right?
yeah.
I'm
So
not
when you
putting
make,
them in prison, but I'm
yeah,
financially absolutely fucking them, because
mm.
they've fucked my brain, and now I can't go outdoors
So
sometimes.
what you're talking about is closer to what Johnny Depp is trying to do. You would be in that case seeking compensation.
Seeking compensation, but in this case, not for defamation. It's actually for the
Yeah,
incident. And so, in
but you
your
wouldn't be
case,
charging them.
your argument was still
It
the
would be different.
incident, but it was a different a different approach in the
Mm.
suing of the incident. Whereas in my case,
Yeah,
it's like, well,
you're
they're
talking about
actually
actual suing.
responsible for that case, as opposed to, like me just going,
Mm.
oh, well, I'd be happy if they spent some days in prison. I don't give a shit what that criminal does, right?
Yeah,
I know that I very much doubt that he will do what he did again, because I was an exceptional circumstance, an exceptional case, because I had my dad die, and then all of a sudden, my brain is in total disarray because I'm like, I can't handle loss at all. So that on its own was quite quite difficult for my brain to cope with. And I was also asexual. Already at this point, I was asexual. So I don't have a particular desire for sexual intercourse, back then, and certainly now. And so, again, it's like exceptional circumstance, but
you know,
his
I
emotional abuse and manipulation was sickeningly disgusting and wrong. And as a result, because of him manipulating me and controlling me, and then subsequently raping me at that point, would I don't see any argument that anyone could have. Not saying that you had this argument, because you did not, but I'm saying, like, I don't see how that could foreseeably be an argument against them paying for the $25,000 worth of therapy or whatever it's been. I don't know how much it's been. I don't want to
Yeah.
calculate it.
No. So yeah, absolutely. Compensation. If I break your leg, I should have to pay your hospital bills,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
But
Judge Judy style as well, I will add.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
Judge Judy style,
Judge Judy
absolutely.
style.
Yeah, so
Because we're
compensation
responsible
and
adults, yeah.
like all you're doing is trying to you're not doing what charging does. When you charge someone
Yeah.
for a criminal activity, you don't get the money. You can charge someone and they can be fined thousands of dollars, or they could go to
Yeah.
jail, and all of that can happen, but you don't get a dollar.
Yeah,
It does
that
not
goes to
help
Vic
you
Pol.
at all. You get a
Yeah.
little bit of Schadenfreude where you just sit there and go, "Yay! They
Yeah.
got what's coming to them." It's
Yeah.
not going to help you. That's all I tried to mean. But
Yeah.
absolutely,
Okay,
yes.
that's good
Compensation is
clarification.
good.
Good
Compensation is
clarification.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel that I may not have been alone in the understanding that we were talking about suing for
Yeah.
quote unquote damages. I think is what it would the umbrella that it falls under. But what you're
Yeah. So
saying is
I like
a
to not use the word suing because, yeah, that's
yeah.
lots of different. Yeah. So, yes. No,
Yeah,
specifically charging
I
is what
I
I have
don't
a
know
problem with.
if I'm not alone in that misunderstanding because a lot of people I think are in possibly in my boat where they don't know what it means because they've never been charged or sued, you
Yeah, they
know?
haven't had to
And
learn the court lingo.
exactly, they haven't had to learn it, and it's a good thing. Good.
Yes. Good, good. Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, covering the point, yeah, not convinced the idea of the Me Too movement is a good idea. Um, Also
Yeah.
not convinced pressing charges is a particularly good idea, although compensation and trying to like if someone literally defames you and says that you're
Yeah.
an awful person and here's why, going back to court and publicly saying with a definite outcome of actually no, you're wrong. That what you said is so wrong and you've actually ruined part of my life from the horrible things that you've accused me of. Yes, 100% yes, do that. That will help you heal. Yes, both of
Yeah.
those things would.
I
Um,
still I can't get over the fact that everything in my mind and body does not want to disagree with the whole hashtag Me Too thing, but it's also the fact that I say that I think my disagreement with it is more from a case by case standpoint, where you get times where it makes so much sense, and where the person who has experienced it, and I could be talking about 99% of all cases. Okay, I want that to be known. That I could be referring to all 100% cases that have been involved in that movement, or I could be talking about select ones because I don't know what happened.
yeah.
But what I'm saying is just the need for incredible amounts of carefulness and of
Mm,
consideration of, is this part of your healing journey going to be helpful? And is it going to give you a positive response that will assist you? And in a way,
maybe.
one could
Uh,
argue, maybe, and that you don't know until you know. But the thing is, again, it's that careful consideration, being open about something traumatic that has happened to you and not naming the name of the person who did that. That is the best place to start. And that is what
yeah,
I have
I think
done,
that's where it
you
should
know?
be. I think that is where it should
Yeah,
stay.
yeah. So,
Because I can frame it like this. Because I disagree
mm,
with the Me Too movement for the same reason. Um,
yeah,
there are two other things. One's kind of controversial, one's a bit more obvious. Like death penalty, right?
yeah,
Death penalty, most people would disagree with because they know maybe 10% are wrong. Maybe 1% is wrong. But if you're killing,
yeah,
you know, if you're killing even 10 people a year incorrectly for a crime they didn't commit, then
Mm.
you have to say, well, I think most people would agree that you don't want to permanently remove them. You don't want
Yeah.
to have, you don't want to take away the option to go, oh, we messed up. The system isn't actually perfect, right? And the other thing is a little more controversial because this is something that is kind of the equivalent, um, which is the sex offender list. You have a list of
Mm.
people who have uh, committed theoretically horrible, horrible actions, and you got in the list, and that's it. You're labeled from there onwards.
Mm.
Um, but um, first off, I don't think putting them on that list is actually helping whoever was affected. And then there's also the problem of I know for like in America in some places, if
Mm.
you're 18 and or like if you're 19, let's say, and you're um, engaging with activities with a 16, 17-year-old, like maybe there, right? And maybe it's just like you went to high school together and whatever. And then maybe that uh, the younger person decides, no, actually, I don't like you anymore. We had a messy breakup. And then they can do go through the process, and then the older person is on the offender list, whether or not anything happened that you could consider to be absolutely god awful.
I need to butt in and declare my thoughts on this, which is again case by case. And
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
agree, I actually agree on public listing personally. And
You agree that
my,
people should be listed publicly?
yes, but also case by case. And that we're talking,
Yeah.
was it a, um, was it something that you're dealing with a serial sex offender, right?
Mm.
Um, because when you're you mentioned something before, which was you don't think it's particularly helpful for the victims. I feel that if I had the public system naming the name of the person who did what they did to me, that would have brought me peace, personally. Personally. And I feel that there are likely others that
It's
would
a
be in the
vengeful piece,
same
though.
boat.
It's a vengeful piece.
Perhaps so. I don't know because I would need to have a chat with people who have been through that,
Mm.
or watch some interviews with people who have been through that. So I just think that's a very touchy subject.
Mm.
Um, uh,
Okay.
but it's like I know that we did not have a public list, and we fought in Parliament to have a public list, and there was the politician Darren Hinch who was listing, naming names of people publicly against the law, and so he was doing that.
Mm.
And I think when you hear of some of the cases that these people are doing, it it is on that case by case thing. My argument would be that some of these people are sick, disgusting people,
Mm.
and they've done something that has proven their moral compass does not exist. Um, and they should be known as needing an accountability and an awareness on the fact that that name has no moral compass
For
because they
how
were
long?
able to do something that was so sickeningly wrong. What was your question? Was how long?
How long should they be on this list for?
And that's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that. Sources has mentioned.
Oh, I said vengeful piece, by the way. It's like
Oh, yeah,
you
sorry.
you get it's like a sort of a piece that you get that's instant, yeah.
Mm,
Um, because you know that you've limited the other person, or you've controlled the other person, or you've negatively affected the other person, or you've shifted the perspective of people around that person. And you now, because you've shifted the perspective of people around that person, they get ostracized. And you get that sort of instant relief of, yes, thank God, now people can see them for what they are. Which, you know, I'm not going to at all say that that's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
What the only thing I mean by that is I don't think that that is a I don't think that is the healthiest way to heal. Yeah. That is specifically what I'm saying, is just that I don't think it's the healthiest way to heal. I think it could be
Yeah.
something that gives
Important
you
to have the
pleasure,
wording. It's really
but I
important to
don't
have
think
that wording.
it might be helpful in the short term. I don't think it's the best way to heal.
Yeah.
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 And like it's just I don't like dealing with systems. I disagree to be heard and judged a victim by authority is validating. Yeah, but they're not going to get it right. They just, I don't like the systems don't get things right. I like let them deal with extraordinary cases, but I think things like this should be kept out of law because it's just too tricky and they can't seem to get it right ever.
Which
I
things are you referring to?
um domestic anything just about. They just never seem to get it right. I actually haven't heard many people where they do get things even close to accurate, unless it's like unless it's like extraordinary cases of absolute uh you know, murder or you know, broken limbs and that sort of thing. But even then, you know, Johnny Depp's finger is partially gone.
Yeah.
What are they doing? No, the English court decided it was probably an animal that pooped on the bed because Amber had nothing to gain. Right? This is what I mean. They do not get things right, and it's so tricky
Yeah.
that the best thing to do is to say, okay, maybe you want um something where it's something that the English courts decided when it's a case over there. Um, maybe you want the what do you call that? The intervention order, where
Yeah.
you know you can't be near that person, they can't come near you. You just separate, and you say, "Good, separate," and you remove them from your life. Great. I'm all for avenues where people can get help and where people can get what they need and keeping people safe. All for it, absolutely, 100%. But
Yeah. Yeah.
bringing this sort of stuff to court often doesn't accomplish much, and often doesn't go the way that makes a lot of sense, especially here. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I don't know
You,
much, but I know one thing, and that is that I have no fucking clue what the meme
I
sound
have no
is.
idea either.
What um and sorry, and so I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm just reading the
Hey,
a
you, you,
you
you, you, you,
you
you, you,
you
you, 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 GH.
G.
Is that like?
Yeah, I don't know. Feedback would be appreciated, thank you.
I don't know. Those are
Moving on.
just my 17 cents. To move on to something else, maybe.
Yep, yep.
Uh,
I just like to state though my preference for raising these sorts of topics personally
Mm.
is um is to say that I have perhaps a disagreement or I'm unsettled by the legal system, not the legal system is bad, because it's like I just think that it's saying it's bad, people will pick up on that and say, well,
Oh, okay.
everything about it's
Clarification.
bad. Yeah, I think that better
Most
wording,
most
um,
domestic cases I've seen, specifically in
yeah,
Victoria, have not led to an outcome that I personally would deem to make a lot of sense,
yeah, yeah,
either to help the victim or victims,
yeah,
plural, or to justly apply punishment to the abusers or perpetrators.
yeah,
That is all I mean to say, and it's very specific to domestics because it gets so complicated and tricky, and it gets oversimplified when you either put it online
yeah,
or when you take it to court. People don't want to like get down to the nitty-gritty and see both sides, and it's like, well, like even in Aussie court, you can't see both sides. Like, say no, we're not going to do that.
mm,
And so it's like so messy and it's so tricky, and I don't think that specific thing in Victoria, at the moment at least, is ever gotten right.
yeah,
Clarification.
yeah. Also, speaking of clarification, we received clarification of the
Oh,
A,
did we?
you. And apparently there's something that we need to search up. So perhaps I'll get you to search that up
Yeah.
while I play the theme song that is appropriate for you searching something up.
Meme. Look up XQ cow. Lack of hair. I actually can't see. No, I don't think I'm getting anything that resembles.
Aruga.
Anyway,
No matter.
I need more. I need more information to complete this search. I'm sorry. I can't help with that.
Ah, sorry. I just realized. Also, thank you for the compliment in regards to my guitar playing. I just remembered something. Us
Mm.
dabbing in this professional conference that we're having right now just reminded me of that one um, testimony that guy was delivering from his car. He was vaping while he was driving.
Yeah.
And I thought, here we we're having this professional discussion. Ah, laser beams coming out the eyes and everything. That'd be great. It's
Mm.
good. Yeah, yeah. This is a very controlled and professional environment in which we are in, as you can all tell. So there you go.
I'm just gonna go to Lou quickly. So the guitar
So
time
now I have
is
to go
now.
back to the
Yeah,
guitar. Well, shit.
one of his emotes on Twitch. Yeah.
Oh well,
Unfortunately, the extent of my Twitch is just watching the two people that I watch on there, which consists
yeah,
of chess and StarCraft. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm a nerd. I'll be back.
All right. Well, for those that don't know, it is these moments in the stream where I have no choice but to play guitar because I don't know how to talk to people. So I just resort to the instrument of choice as a result.
Discord is doing an amazing job of not letting me hear you play guitar, as it always does. Adonis, yes.
And we're back.
Oh my
What do we
God.
got? What do we got?
I'm sorry, but the thing you have searched up does not seem to appear. Please try again in 3 minutes. Please try again in 2 minutes.
Oh
Please
my
try again in
goodness.
1 minute.
Yes. Oh, there's nothing worse. And you know that you'll only get 3 attempts at the next time, but then it turns out you only get two because it realizes that you're spamming the system, but you're not. You actually want to search. And it's
No,
like,
imagine if it
but
worked that way.
please, no, I don't understand why. Anyway,
Anyway.
Foxy, oh, thank you, much appreciated. Can you play speedcore music on stream? I don't know what speedcore is, but I know that I'm about to find out after the stream. If I find out during the stream, my stream will possibly get plonked off of YouTube, and in which case it'll be
Yes.
goodbye, my wonderful people. Moving on. So.
So,
So.
so do we want to try to keep talking about the case, or we can move into some other notes that I have?
Oh, I mean, you've got notes, so you're the professional one here. I'm just the idiot that pretends to look cute and plays guitar whenever you need to take a piss.
Oh, it's very
That's-
good pissing music.
That's the only reason you all get guitar music is because he pisses.
You should thank me for urinating.
Life is beautiful, okay? Moving on.
Moving on.
I love it.
So, as one could imagine, if anyone is still here from before, when I was talking about my past, I had bad experiences with
Yes.
someone I used to be in a relationship with.
There's a song about
Bad
that. It's called Somebody
experiences.
That I Used to Know.
Oh, she is.
Yeah. I don't know the lyrics of that song, but I know that there's that bit, and it's true. Because you used to know her, and now you don't. I don't know where I was going with that. Please continue. Distraction.
So, as you can imagine, there was something my brain tried to do where it sort of found similarities of what she did that made me feel bad, and it found those in a lot of other people, and a lot of those other people are mostly female. And this is something I never had to contend with because, generally speaking, I don't do that. Um, I'm very against sexism and anything like that, and so I buried my head in research just to figure out why this happened to me and where it all came from. So one really interesting thing is about socialization sort of thing. So I learned a lot about personalities and different aspects of. One I really wanted to learn about was more aggressive side of things. And it turns out that when you get a random group of 2-year-olds and you slap them in a room, only about 5% of them will kick, bite, or steal or otherwise act aggressively. Almost all of them are the boys, which is kind of interesting because at 2 you haven't really been like you haven't
No
been programmed yet.
influence or conditioning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You just
And
exist as this mush thing, and you
the
would
mush thing.
and you're the mush thing that absorbs like a sponge the finances of those who brought you here. So you're like
Yes.
a mushy sponge, but for money and shit. And then you just grab the money, absorb it, and produce shit. It's good.
Mama, please clean my diaper. Um,
Yes. Oh no, wrong audience to say that with.
oh no.
No
Moving
offense to
swiftly
anyone
on.
who's. What's that? What's that?
The, I don't have $5,000 to $7,000 to burn yet. When I do, that might be a thing, but I don't see that happening in the close foreseeable future,
Yeah.
Mr. Omni. Moving swiftly on, by the age of four, most of the kids that were aggressive, so this is only back at the age of 5% were a bit aggressive. They would either bite, kick, physical violence, or they would steal and make fun of other kids. Um,
Yeah.
so most of the physically violent ones were men, and most of the other ones were female, which is interesting. And uh, then by the age of 4, most of them have grown out of it. It is such a small chunk of people by the age of 4 that still do those things when they're just left alone in a room with a bunch of their peers. And so that's really interesting to me for a few different reasons. Firstly, because that means a decent chunk of men basically came out angry beings, or they enjoyed and had fun. They reveled in the experience of causing others pain, right? They came out that way. And by the age of 4, they learnt not to do that, which is
Yeah.
really cool. And it also means that um, a small, and it's still a small chunk of guys, and that's cool. And then there's a small chunk of women who came out, and like obviously, uh, oh God, and and this is all from studies, but like there's a small chunk
Yeah.
of women who would come out wanting to socially destroy other beings. Uh,
Mm.
and then
Oh yeah.
they learn not to do that, right? But there's less women who learn not to do that than there are men who learn not to be aggressive. Because society doesn't have so much of the um, don't do that sort of thing when it comes to very much more slight social destruction, right? And so by the time you get to high school, you have the few guys that will start fights and be rowdy individuals. But then, and I hope there are women in the stream that can, or ladies or girls in the stream who can help me here, but uh, there's so many women who are still stuck in that social destructiveness.
Right. And that was
Uh,
according to a study you're saying. Like they did
yeah,
a study
this
on
is
this.
multiple studies. Yeah,
I
yeah.
really we really need to we
Site.
what we need to do
I
is we
should
need to
start
cite
getting
them,
the
and then
links.
every time you mention it, control V and
Mm,
enter, and then all of a
I
sudden
should go
it's like,
back and get them.
oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, no matter. We don't have that today. I'm sorry, teachers, we did not do our homework.
I didn't bring my bibliography with me.
Yeah. Shame on you. I also love what Nero said. I got a good laugh out of that.
Uh,
Um,
uh,
yeah. He's
let's
very
see.
autistic.
Oh yeah, kids say some awesome things.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so good.
Yeah. And there's
Mm.
still that that opportunity to say awesome things as a kid when you're, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and then you get older
Doesn't
and then
quite
you
have
look
the same
back.
impact.
Um,
Yeah.
well, different impact, because like you can still say things like I still remember heaps of things that I would say And perhaps that's from the autismo brain, I don't know, but I'll look back and I'll go, yeah, that memory still haunts me. You know, yep, I
They
did
just
in
start
fact say
ruminating. Oh
that
my God.
and did X, Y, and Z, and I'll look at that and go, wow, what an
Yeah.
actual egghead.
The way I deal with that is by remembering that I'm actually a different person than I was back then.
Oh, I can't do that. No, I just keep reliving it.
Oh
Just keeps
dear.
plonking me in that moment no matter what. Unless I meditate. If I meditate, I'm fine, but like then it's like again, that's why I keep telling people that I meditate all the time is because I have to. Because if I don't, my brain's like, no, we're going back over here. And it's like, no, no, come back. You're an asshole.
Yeah. Uh, that's one of my least favorite thought loops to be stuck in.
Oh, yeah, invasive thoughts suck. Imagine you
Yeah.
were born and grew the size of a. Oh, no.
That can be clipped and posted into like r slash something a furry would say or something like that.
I'll
My
let you
God.
do. I'll let you do that. I'll let you do that. You're an R hard. I don't understand how to use the R thing.
Oh no, I've never actually been on it.
Oh
I just
really?
see it in on other platforms and it
Ah,
like has that in the picture or they talk about it and they say that. So I don't actually understand how Reddit works. I saw
yeah.
it once and it was so clunky looking and this is many years ago. I don't know if they
No, it's the same.
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
clunky that I just gave up pretty much immediately and was like, yeah, I'd rather just educate myself on YouTube or something. Or watch some shows on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Anywho, yeah. So yeah, I found it very interesting is this that
Hmm.
we don't consider quite often the things that females do as aggressive behavior, even if they are aggressive. And yeah, it's just I thought that was fascinating, and it was also really nice to learn that most aren't like that. Most women are actually
Interesting.
not at all like that, and it's really good to know that. It really helped me a lot.
Yeah.
It's like saying
Interesting.
all men are physically aggressive. It's like, hell no, they're not. That's a silly thing to say, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the comments in regarding my fluffy rat. I
Mm.
think he's quite fluffy and cute too. So anyway, yes, 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 yes.
Well, this is cool. Over 2.3 million people have signed a petition to remove Amber Heard from the next Aquaman 2 movie.
Ah, I wouldn't be.
Hell yeah.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if they. I wouldn't be surprised if they like the set did that anyway. Don't you think they would?
I
Or do you
mean,
reckon no?
after Johnny Depp got removed from Harry Potter, or the, the Harry Potter latest one,
Yeah.
the Mysterious Beasts, where they find them, the Secrets of Dumbledore, he was taken out of that, which is a real shame. But
Wait, when you say taken out of that, was that during filming or that was after the film was done?
oh
So it
no,
wasn't
before,
re-edited, yeah?
yeah, no, no.
Okay, all good.
They just didn't bring him in for it, and it's like,
Yeah.
how could you do such a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the was it Warner Brothers politely asked him to resign.
Wow.
Let's put it that way. Um,
Yeah.
and so that's why he wasn't in that movie. And he's also been taken out. Like, if they do make another Pirates of the Caribbean, he won't be in that either.
Wow.
Yes, yes, correct. Yes, he won't be in Pirates of the Caribbean. So that's pretty messed up. And sort of like, as a nice Schadenfreude for me, at least, Amber Heard not being allowed to be in Aquaman 2 would just be such a nice, like, that's
Oh
what you
yeah.
get, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they've
Wow.
already discovered that she's a pretty terrible actor in a courtroom. How do they think she's going to act in front of a camera?
She's so bad. She's
Sorry,
got so many of
I
those
just have to
slip
dab
ups.
uncontrollably. Damn it. Sorry, I don't know what overcame me just then. That was a bit rough. Um,
Like, oh, oh, I
I
made a
just,
note of what they're called.
I loved watching the behavioral analysts observing both sides, observing some of the witnesses, and just wow, the whole thing is laced with goodies. So,
What's that thing called where psychopaths, or psych sociopaths, when they think they're getting away with something and they're like, ha ha, ha, and they have that really slight, just for a second, they're like pretending to be all sad and stuff, and they're like, and then back to
yeah,
sadness. What is that
yeah.
called? She did that so many times. So many times. She's enjoying every second of this.
I
God
can't
damn.
remember what it's called. I can't remember if it was breaking the mask or if it was something else, or I can't remember. I do appreciate the compliments in regards to my dabbing abilities, however, because I take immense pride, obviously, in the fact that I am a very controlled and competent contributor to society. Sometimes. Moving
That
on.
party.
Yeah, who's a
That's all
dab
you
party?
get.
He did it. He did it. He dabbed. There you go. Congratulations. Very good.
Congratulations.
I like this dab party thing. That's kind of cool. I don't know how to dance though, but I know how to dab. I just don't know. I don't have the whole dancing thing going on. So my apologies. But yes.
Mm.
Clip it and ship it. Yes, ship it off to AliExpress so they can put it on a T-shirt. So then maybe one day I can be a poppy fur. Wow. Anyway, but what were we saying about the whole AH thing? Is what just her face? It's her face.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Um,
Yeah.
that's gonna bug me for a while now. But
We
there's
we
a
were
thing.
we were we were meant to do our homework with these videos, but the thing is that both Daniel and myself lead incredibly interesting lives involving lots of doing things that we would perhaps rather not be doing, but
Mm.
one has to because life exists. And in my
Yeah, I
case, it's
worked 6 days this week,
there you go.
so
He's a hard worker. He'll
I'm
be
a hard worker.
he'll be dabbing for weeks, because he has to make up for all the lost time of lack of dabs.
Mm.
So so yes, um, yeah. So we've covered the court system side of things with that. We've
Mm.
brushed on the behavioral analyst side of that. I think the most important thing that we discussed was the real life parallel that existed, which was, in your case, because in your case it put a criminal record, little
Mm.
marker, and that prohibited you from getting a job that you were beyond qualified for, beyond,
Yeah,
beyond qualified for, and would
yeah.
have
I could
been
work
an
3 days a week
incredible.
and get 90 grand a year
Yes.
because of the skills that I possess.
Yeah.
And I worked very hard to develop and hone those skills, and
Yeah.
now they're kind of not useless, but they're just not.
They
I can't
cannot
actually
be
use them.
utilized
They
in
can't
a
be utilized.
professional environment under normal conditions because
Mm.
the normal conditions, the opportunities to find the normal conditions have been revoked due to the way that our world works, and we have no way around that except just to accept. And all this mentioning of donuts is pissing me off because I want one.
I want one now. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I
but
haven't
you
eaten
live you
today,
live closer to the donut place than I do.
but I have $20 to my name, and I'd rather eat other
Yeah,
things
yeah,
before
yeah.
Wednesday.
Gotta eat other things. But
Yeah.
one
Mask
uh,
slipping?
yeah, that's
Mask
it.
slipping.
That's it. I know a thing or two about that. Just so you know. Um, moving on. Wow, he's really weird. Yes. What kind of
Ooh,
donuts are jelly
yes.
filled?
Yes.
Um,
Mask slipping
uh,
all day long.
oh yeah. As far as donuts, by the way, because donuts are more, um, more valuable than Amber Heard's career at the moment. I would go for
Mm.
this cheesecake donut. We have a cheesecake donut around here, and it is absolutely decadent. It is so magnificent. I always hated cheesecakes. Back when I was a little girl, I could not stand cheesecake. It was always so sour and just it would hit you. It would annihilate your little taste budsicles. And now I don't know whether that's changed or whether I just had bad cheesecake or perhaps both. But for whatever reason, I can now have these cheesecake donuts, and they're so creamy and delightful and lovely.
I can
And
tell you why.
okay, you tell me why. You're a gastronomist. Is it gastronomist? Is that a term?
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Food science person.
yep,
Um, the donuts that you get from, let's say, Daniel's Donuts,
yes.
they make what is far closer to, the vanilla slice.
Yeah.
That the feeling for that, they make something far closer to that and then add in flavors. And they have to add in not too
Uh,
much of the flavor, otherwise it changes the texture and it doesn't work so well inside of a donut. And so
right.
when they say cheesecake, you're getting a little bit of the cheesecake flavors, but in a way that's closer to something that you already quite enjoy, which is vanilla slices. Everybody send vanilla slices to Foxy's PO box,
Ah,
which he doesn't
yes.
have.
Yes, we'll work on that. That will come in time when I hit 1,000 subs. So if you're not sub, please do so I can get a PO box and you can send me donuts. What a conceited, selfish thing to insist people do. Anyway,
Oh yeah,
moving
send
on.
me stuff. Send
Yeah,
me
oh yeah,
random stuff. I'll unbox it on stream.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, a donut. Okay, I'll eat this, and then casually I get food poisoning and die.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
Oh, we
yeah,
laced this one with heroin.
yeah. What the
Oh
hell?
dear.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Also, I love this.
Just hanging
I've been
out of your
gaslit.
mouth.
I've been gaslit because they're all talking about donuts, and then I talk about how they're making me hungry about donuts, and so then I start talking about donuts, and then all of a sudden, why are you talking about donuts? You're making me hungry. Real life
Wait,
case
did
of
they say that?
gaslighting. Yeah, 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 yeah. Have a
You're
look.
making me crave donuts now. It
Ah,
wasn't him. Oh crap.
I love it. It's so good. Oh, excellent. I'm glad we could have a practical and real life example of some of the things that we talk about in these videos.
Yeah, but that type of gaslighting's okay.
Oh yeah, that's okay. It's totally gaslighting. Is it really okay? Find out in this episode of Philosophox.
Yeah, I'm
Excellent.
interested if chat wants us to talk about anything in particular.
Yeah, well,
Um,
clearly chat wants us to flipping talk about donuts, which is a bit unfortunate for me because I want one. But yes, just remember everyone who is in the chat, we always appreciate any thoughts or criticisms or comments, even if they're in total disagreements with what it is that we're saying. That makes it even better because we're able to talk about it and be in a position where we can perhaps learn some new form of disagreement for it, which may help us either ground our decision further or expand our decision to have certain concessions in place that facilitate some of the things that are being discussed. Like how I'll often chip into Daniel and say, I disagree with that. And then all of a sudden, we then talk about it and then we reword it. And then all of a sudden, it's like making a law. You have to keep revising the writing of the law until it finally
mm.
makes sense to not include the things that it should never include, but to only be inclusive of the things that it must include. I haven't followed this trial or anything at all, so nothing from me. Well, that's totally fair enough. No vote on topic from this node. Very well. Next time on Voxy Channel, we talk about donuts and how hungry Voxy is about them, to where they will dab for them. Oh my goodness. Well, you see, that's the problem, is that if we do that, then there is a chance that I'll have to do a live stream video where Daniel and I go to Daniel's Donuts. And I'll go as this, and it'll be unfortunate for them because they'll be like, "Oh my god." It's so awkward.
I'll show you how to make donuts on a live stream.
Oh, but can you? Are you a donut
Yeah,
expert?
of course I can make donuts.
Well,
I'm
I
an
know that you
expert
can
on
make everything,
donuts.
but like I remember you saying that pastry chef land is like really hard. Like it's different.
It's more of
Different.
a science.
Okay.
So you have to treat it more like you're doing chemistry.
Yeah.
Uh, Whereas when you're doing a lot of savory things, like if you're making a curry or,
Mm.
you're doing stuff like that, you can sort of go crazy. Uh, uh, Eggs. You're making scrambled eggs. That's a really good example. Scrambled eggs
Scrumble
is
dogs.
chemistry
Scrumble dogs.
because every degree different changes the texture.
Yes.
When you mix a little more than you want to, you change the texture. If you mix less, you change the texture. Everything you're doing is changing the taste and
Ah,
the texture. And so that is more like a when you're doing pastries, it's a lot more like that.
man, that's hard.
Yeah, that's why I say it's a different type of cooking.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we've now learned something new, and that is that we'll have a donut stream where we learn how to cook donuts, and so that's going to be quite entertaining now, isn't it? And you know we could do that because I've still got my wireless lav mics. What I'd need. No, no, no. We could do
I'm
that.
sorry, I was laughing at Adonis.
Oh, sorry. What do they say? Poisoned
Uh, don't
donuts.
don't mind me just looking at my burnt scrambled eggs.
Oh my goodness, yes. Don't even talk to me about that. Actually, didn't taste a donut for a long time. Well,
Well, you're in the same boat as me.
Bruno, we all get to experience sadness on this planet. It's unfortunate, but it's the way that this world works is as we exist, there is a spectrum of what it is that we'll experience or not experience. And if we close in on that spectrum, we won't experience as much. We might not experience as much sadness, but we won't experience as much positivity either. But the more we open ourselves up to experiencing something like donuts, you run the risk of experiencing immense joy and happiness and fulfillment and contentment in life as you do immense sorrow and loss and all the things that accompany
Sorrow and
that.
loss for the abs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's sort of where I was getting at. Um, I can turn everything into a little bit of a that's a very nice motivational poster you've got on the wall there. What does it say? And then they read it and go, what the what? That's my one. I did that. Uh, I should do that. Oh, I saw someone was doing that actually. There was someone on the big Twitter that was doing these little motivational posters of their own character in front of a text of thing. And I thought, I appreciate the enthusiasm. I'm like, I couldn't imagine any of the dumb shit that I say as being worth even that.
Oh dear.
Like a
I
motivational
mean,
poster. I'm just like this, and it's just like donuts are really cool.
yes. Yeah, sell that on Patreon for like $300.
Oh, there we go. Oh, hey, that's so not related to this topic of Amber Heard sickles and whatever else. Um, so uh, it now exists that I have a Patreon, and I don't like the idea of me having a Patreon because I don't like being in a position where I'm ever asking other people to inconvenience themselves for my need for convenience because that just seems absolutely wrong. And so, which is silly because there is a video that I did multiple on dealing with self-worth and um, dealing with imposter syndrome and all of those funny things that are basically what I'm complaining about within myself, is that I'm not worth any of that. And really, it's like, well, if you just put it out there and it exists, then it doesn't matter if you're worth it or not, because other people will either formulate their opinion or they'll formulate their opinion. Doesn't matter. They're just going to formulate their
Yeah.
opinion, and they'll just do, and you'll just do, and all will be good. But it raises the question on what what things that should be on that Patreon that seem to make sense, and that's assuming, of course, that the channel keeps growing and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of wonderful people. But I had one on there which is, I sort of like mentioned that, it could the point of the Patreon is to help, obviously, the fact that I pay $250 every week to see a psychologist, to fix my brain, from the whole trauma and stuff. And anyway, so that can obviously go towards that. But anyway.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. So, I don't know where I was going with this. Yeah, $250 a week.
Worth it.
It's per session, so it's $250 per hour, and I see him 1 hour every week. So, so that paints it into perspective. And I tell you what, I'm not going to put, because that would be very bad. I'm not going to put one that says, oh yeah, my $250 a month Patreon. Every
You
month
should.
every month you can pay for my psychologist. It's just like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, I'll
yeah.
just, hey,
Yeah,
I'll send,
put it, and in the in the
I'll get
description you
someone to
say,
link.
"You're crazy. Why are you doing this? Thank you very much. I love you."
Oh gee, I think I just have to say, okay, well, if you pay for this, I'll just marry you. Uh, anyway, but isn't that interesting? I like the fact that the conversation changed to donuts. It changed to donuts, and it changed elsewhere. At least if, for once in America land, something is cheaper. No, so Nero, that's 250 Australian dollars, so you need to do the conversion. And in addition to that, you need to keep in mind that my psychologist is a clinical psychologist, and
And a high-end one at
a
that.
very good psychologist, a high-end psychologist. He is someone who specializes in trauma. He is one who
Yeah.
specializes in people with an autism brain, like myself. And as a result, $250 an hour is certainly a little bit better than the $500 an hour that Amber Heard's psychologist was being paid by her legal team, which again goes to show you what that money can buy a testimony.
Mm. And yeah, so that's the high end. I see like maybe a more middle range site. And because I'd get her in her overtime hours, she charges 220. But my healthcare plan will cover a lot of that, so I end up only paying about $80. Now, there's also, if you have a healthcare plan, and even if you're working, you can get this. You don't have to be on benefits. And so you basically just go to your GP and you say, I would like a mental health care plan. They can
Yes.
actually assign you a free psychologist. You don't have to pay anything. They are qualified, they will help you.
Oh, really?
And if you don't have to pay anything at all, and you can do that
Ah.
10 times, and then you go back to your GP, you say, I need more, 10 wasn't enough. They give you more, you go back. And that's sort
So
of
they've
a
got
thing that you can
psychologists
keep doing.
that charge only the Medicare amount.
Yes, there's lots of them.
Wow.
And they get all of the people because they charge so little, but also you don't need to charge that much to make a lot of money from psych. And I put it this
Yes.
way, my psych charging 220, 210, can't remember. I'm only paying out $80 from that, and so the rest is covered.
Yeah, and if you go past a certain bracket with Medicare, eventually Medicare starts increasing the amount that they cover. And
Mm.
so if you've exhausted the certain bracket within Medicare, they'll eventually, your gap fee will just be like $25 or something like that per session. Because I had
Mm.
that back when we were doing the sessions, and this was at $240 that these sessions were priced at. It was um, yeah, going to a gap fee of it was originally the gap fee of 130, I think. Is that how much you said yours is, Daniel? Your gap fee is 130?
220. Oh, they are paying
You're out of pocket by
either they Medicare is paying either 130 or 140. I can't remember off the top of my head.
okay. Yeah, so I'm out
The
of
rest I'm
pocket.
paying.
Yeah, I'm out of pocket 120, 130, something like that. Um Psychologists are expensive. Anyway, but when you're dealing with fixing your brain and being able to live
Mm.
a meaningful life and have a meaningful existence, you'll soon figure out whether or not that's worth it to you. But for me, it absolutely is, obviously. Um, so I agree. If they can afford $250 an hour, I think they can afford the wedding. That's in regards to the Patreon mentioning of the tier $250. Pay for my psychologist, and I'll just marry you. But you'll also pay for the wedding. Anyway, moving on. For me, without insurance in America, I get put into a sliding scale fee. So the therapist is $16.42 an hour, and a psychiatrist is $25 per session.
Yeah, that'd be about the same for us if we are on private.
Oh, on private.
Yeah. Yeah, so we
Oh,
can
but
do
if
that as
we're on
well.
no, but if we're on private, you're talking private as in like HBF, NIB, like private health insurance, yeah?
Mm.
Okay, yeah, but the problem with private, right? This is my disagreement with private, is that they only cover up to a number of sessions, just like Medicare. And
Depends on your plan.
so
All of them can
I
be
had a
tailored.
look, and they're tailored, but they're tailored at $800 a year. You only get
Yeah.
coverage to X amount of plans, and it works out to be cheaper for you just to see them directly.
Mm.
And it's like it's just baffling that we have private health cover here in Australia, and the only thing that you get as a benefit that is my understanding is you get to pick who your doctor is when you get to pick your hospital when you're going to hospital. And if that's the only thing you want, absolutely you go with that. There's no waiting list with certain things, so
But
that's
no,
really good as
because
well.
there's also
Uh,
other things, right? Like if you, let's say you have particular problems a little later on in life, and you have a decent uh, p private medical cover, you may need to do tests that cost after Medicare. Like if you're just on free Medicare, you might have to do tests that would actually put you out of pocket about $300, $400. And
mm,
so they would end up being only, if you went to that same place, they could only end up being maybe 20, 50, $100. And you might have to do those tests multiple times. And then there's other things like if you need to do physio and psych and something else, and you've got all these different problems that are just building up over time, being on private just makes all the sense in the world.
yeah,
If you just need it for one service, it doesn't make much sense. It's like comprehensive insurance of a life, but I just want to insure my car. Uh, yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Well, that's what I wanted, and they said get stuffed
yeah,
because
yeah.
they said we don't cover the car with your private health insurance. And I
Yes,
said,
Stella's Medicare is unlimited, as long as you
hmm,
keep going back. I'm pretty sure, pretty sure. I think I looked it up. Could probably
yeah.
look it up now. But yeah, it's
Um,
really good.
what is your favorite dish and why? If we're talking desserts, oh, why are we doing this again? For fuck's sake. Um, Oh,
Well, chat gets to decide where the conversation goes, as
oh,
always.
chat gets to decide where the fucking conversation goes, and now I'm hungry. Um, I saw a panna cotta the other day. That would have been lovely.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, there you
Oh, they are
go. There you
quite
go.
nice.
Oh yes, I sit there and I sound like someone who's from the fancier side of the world. Oh, a panna cotta, please. Oh yes. Mm.
We can make
But
those
no.
as well if you want. I'm actually quite good at making panna cottas. Yeah.
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah.
Next episode of Foxy's ASMR, we make panna cotta in silence. We're gonna do it. Tap, tap, tap. What? Moving
We'll
on.
have a stream in your kitchen. We'll set up the camera and yeah,
We'll do it. We'll do it.
we'll do it.
We'll do it.
What about fast food? Um,
I do enjoy a delicious Amber Heard burger. Nah, I'd take that back. There's not enough sauce on it. I'd go for a, I'd go for a, if I was to pick, if I was to pick right now, I believe a Kentucky Fried Chimkin has a $10 popcorn chimkin bucket, and you can open it, and there's an endless supply
and
of
the
popcorn
supply of
chicken.
popcorn chicken.
Oh, and it's
Wow.
so good. And it's mostly
Wow.
keto. It's not completely keto, but it's as keto as you can get before you're actually keto, as far as fast food goes. So, so that's pretty good. And I think as far as fast food goes, for me, it's mostly what's on special because I'm povo. It's like I can't just go out and buy um, all the food that I would love to eat because you have to,
Yeah. I
you have
was
to
just
sit there and
thinking
go,
about
well,
Stellas.
you're not going to say, yeah, Indian though keto. Oh yes, Indian.
I
Indian
think
is
Indian
keto.
might actually be one of my favorite takeouts.
Yes, same. If I was to pick right now what I would go for,
Mm.
I'd go some sargosht. I'd go some lambda piazza, and uh, I'd probably go some white trash grade butter chicken because I love my white trash butter chicken. Um, Not all the time, but at the moment I am in the mood for white trash butter chicken. Oh
Well, what
man.
I made at your place wasn't too far from butter chicken. We pretty much just add a boatload of butter to it, and it becomes butter chicken.
Yes, so yeah, Adonia, as Daniel has said, and I say we, I tried to help as much as I could. I'm not very apt at cooking, but
Yes.
there was some effort that was put in, and so that's all that matters. Whereas Mr. Niku here is a very qualified, very well versed cook, as an IT professional and as a professional idiot, and so
Mm.
he's uh, he actually knows how to cook real authentic curry, which is bloody good. And so we had that, and I tell you what,
Professional
as far
idiot.
as made by one's own paws, no, that is something that I don't think I would ever want to cook like this. That would be dumb.
Oh, the turmeric stain. Oh no, the
Oh my
turmeric
goodness.
stain.
Yeah.
All of the chili.
Oh, that is.
Everything is red.
Yes, that's it. Today we're painting the fox red. Every time I put him on, my body burns because of the chili oil still in
Oh,
there.
no. Oh, that's awful.
I love it.
Oh, it will
Love
never
it.
wash out either.
I love it.
It's just the red and yellow blobs.
It's excellent. It's so good. I'm glad that we came to this suggestion. How does one like their steak? So Daniel, are you
I just like it cooked correctly.
you,
You can cook well
yeah.
done for me, but if it's well done really well, so it's actually you can still easily cut through it, and when you're chewing it, it sort of just breaks apart
Yeah, and
still.
it's moist still.
It's still moist, it's
Yeah.
delicious. However you do it, as long as you do it right, I love it. I love blue. I will eat blue steak. I love blue steak if it's done right.
If it's done
Like
right.
I
Yes.
if it's done right, you don't just get it from the fridge and slap it on the plate. It's a little bit more to it than that.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
for
you've got to
sure.
manage to get the outside brown somehow,
Yes.
while the inside is still completely just. raw. And it's like, well, man, if you can do that,
Yep.
you're winning. Good job.
Yep.
That's a nice steak. I'll eat that.
Yep. True that. True that. And I'll
Hmm.
second that. I'll second that. I can do blue if it is good, and getting it done good is um, I don't have the kitchen related um, tools to produce a real good blue steak, but I can do rare to mid rare, and I can do that quite nicely. And
You can.
I've got a few pictographs actually that I can use as a as an
It's just
example.
become
So,
a food vlog
oh
of
hell yeah!
just us talking about what we enjoy.
All right, I'll
About
have to
pizza.
zoom this in so that when I bring my phone out, I can uh, find it.
Ooh,
Where is it?
hello.
Um, where's the? How do I operate this?
No, I think you mean nose.
How do I operate this thing? Where's the picture of the steak?
Pineapple belong on pizza? Yes, but be careful. There is a fine line.
Pineapple on pizza. Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it has to be done
yeah,
correctly. Depends on the thickness of the steak, though. If thicker, I prefer less blue. Otherwise, doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah, if I've got a massively thick steak and you're trying to serve it to me blue, I might have a bad time. You got a good
yeah.
point there.
Where was this steak? There was a steak somewhere. Anyway, you guys keep talking. I'm trying to locate this steak. It was a bloody good looking steak.
Booping the snootin'.
Ah,
Um, Let me try to figure out. Mm, boop.
what was that?
uh, they requested a boot, but I can't quite do it.
Ah, so there
There's a
was
gap of grayness.
this one, and
Yell at me, I deserve it.
you can see there that that's like medium
It looks medium.
medium rare if you were to ask someone else. But
Yeah.
um, I had one other one if I can find it again. If I
Train
can
chaser,
find it.
Jesse. Do not feel bad about your lack of love for pineapple. None of us are perfect. No, I'm kidding. No, in all seriousness, there is a gene that my brother has, um, which makes it that things that are acidic are, let's just say, more acidic for him. So I might eat something and I wouldn't even be able to tell that it's acidic, and he'd sit there and like have a little bit of a, oh yeah, there's actually a little bit of a to that. And so if you don't like pineapple and it's because of that acidicness, that would make a lot of sense because honestly, it's like sherbet for some people.
Delicious.
That's pretty.
Yeah, there you go. I'm still looking for this steak, mind you.
Favorite fruit? Red dragon fruit, hands down. Red dragon fruit, maybe plums,
I
but red
can't.
dragon fruit.
I
Oh, it's so nice.
I can't eat fruit. Um,
Yeah.
because I'm
Well, you eat
autistic.
tomato. Your favorite fruit is
Oh,
tomato.
my favorite fruit is tomato. Sorry, yes. And
Yeah.
I think I could manage. No, I can manage tomato raw, assuming that it's in a salad.
Mm.
So there you go.
Your favorite
Mm,
fruit is tomato.
thank you for that. Thank you for that. Um, I'm seeing so many good food picks, but not the one in particular that I was
Food
looking
doesn't make
for.
you happy?
Excuse me?
Oh, Jesse's happiness does not come from food. My happiness comes a lot from food. Awfully
Yeah,
sorry
no,
about that.
insisting that one's happiness does not come from food leaves me unsettled. It leaves me unsettled. Okay?
Voxy just does not enjoy the fruits, mostly. Yeah.
I just can't
Ah,
eat it, you know?
yeah.
So there was this one. You can see how that was cooked there. That's very pink. Um, and so that's like medium rare. Um, if I can turn my brightness down so that we can actually see it better.
Previous message.
That's that one. But oh, just when you're cooking that in the pan, just oh, look at that. So I had those were shaved carrots with some garlic and a lot of butter through
Oh,
it,
that looks so nice.
and it was very very nice.
I know what would make you happier.
What? I'm just gonna
Not
leave
you,
my.
Jesse.
I'm gonna. Oh,
Jesse.
I'm gonna leave my camera like this for now.
I'm sure that would make a lot of people happy.
Yeah, hey, all, all of my ASMR videos will now be done like this.
Oh.
Hello.
I'm going to the loo. That's going to make Jesse very happy, I think.
What the fuck? How is it? Oh, he's not even here to respond to that. What? That wasn't even called for. I'm so confused. Did you mention something? Anyway, I don't know. I don't know anymore. Can't. Oh, there I am. Yes, yes. Very good. Various messages and you'll see. Oh, see what he said. What he said. The final was the fact that I'm depressed and I'm getting ignored for no help for happiness. When you say getting ignored for that, do you mean what with your family? Because your family should help you in getting a access to a psychologist through Medicare, so you can have someone to sort of learn and grow with, basically. You could edit that into an hour-long mic sniffing video. I love it. That's pretty good. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? But I can see it in your eyes. But I can see it in your smile. There you go, done. Very well. I'll edit that into a short for you all. It just looks so weird because I can see it obviously like there in the camera thing, that thing. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway. I love this camera though. It's pretty good. It's like pretty fun. You can look at the beginning of my messages. Belgrave shuttles further up. Bedgrave shuttles. After the same being replaced, which lead to shuttles being cancelled. Adonis, by the way, you would need to obviously be physically in the room in order to do that, but you can certainly make an effort to do so with your mind powers. If you can muster those up, please do. Now, no, look at the beginning. It's about the Belgrave shuttles. It's about the shuttles. Oh, which led to the shuttles being cancelled. Sorry, now I understand what you're talking about. Because when I think of shuttles, I actually think of a bus replacement. I don't think of a train being used, in the way that you're referring to. Because I am not very well educated in train people talk. So, but what I can tell you, oh, there's a good video idea. Thanks, Jesse. I'll do that. You've given me an epiphany. It's not a particularly fun video to do though. That's going to suck. Video idea ASMR. If you expect, you open yourself to receive disappointment. So I have a video idea of an ASMR guided meditation to do with expectation, and it's a very important video as well. So I believe. Pardon me, that's not ASMR at all. Oh, it stinks. Oh God, I'm an idiot. Anyway, what we were talking about. I'm so stupid. Why am I like this? Oh dear. Anyway, I'm sorry. I was meaning to say, doing a video about expectation. We love burp ASMR. Oh dear crust. Hey, I mean, look, you know, if I can consider ASMR videos a tax write-off, maybe that means that beer is required as an ingredient in order to do the video. So that's kind of cool. But we'll soon find out. So anyway, moving on. Yes. Very good. Moving on. I'm gonna bring my camera back out this way and make it bigger. One moment. Oh. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Very well. I'll have to do a silly video of that, but it won't be a very long one. But I'll do it for all of you wonderful people. Daniel, you there? You back?
And I'm back.
Daniel, yeah, you're back now?
Yes.
So I think the people have spoken, and they want an ASMR video of Fox sniffing the microphone.
You degenerates. I love you all.
I know, it's so good. We got sniffed 3 times. It's actually considered a positive interaction.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
That's great. That is so good. Oh, that's right. I haven't uploaded it yet. I need to do that. So I told you, Daniel, that I ordered a HSP, and I picked it up at the front door, like this.
Yes.
And it was like, you know, but yeah, I think I will admit though, it does look kind of cute when Fox is sniffing the microphone. So I can sort of see that part as being quite adorable. But
and just the slow zoom in.
Oh, it's slow zoom in.
Oh yeah, just a slow.
Yeah.
And it's...
Now out turns to sniff you. Oh no, I wouldn't wish that on you. I've been in this for far too many hours now. It would not smell particularly pleasant. It would not smell like my favorite choice of cologne. We'll put it that way. Anyway, moving on. Yes, very good. Well, that was an entertaining breakaway, because unlike most times where you go and then all of a sudden I have to play guitar, this time it was just the camera being zoomed right into my face the whole time.
Oh, good.
I didn't reset it until you just got back. It's so good. I'm an idiot, basically. It's just the response of it. So yes. That's how I feel. Having out the box understands why. Understanding with what you mean with the trains being cancelled, or you mean with the um other thing. Thoughts on people thinking it's too late to do things, elderly or younger people from using technology to going to uni. Well, I mean, it's always silly to suggest that it's too late to do something that it's not too late to do.
I
Okay.
mean, silly, yes, but I think um
No, but it's silly to
you know
complain about it. It's like, you can't, it's complaining about it's not going to let you go back in time and fix it.
mm,
And lamenting about it is not going to do anything about the fact that you're not doing something about it. If it actually means something to you, then get started, even if you're only going to get halfway. You can say, well, at least bloody gave it a go, right?
mm.
I'm 91, but I at least gave Instagram a go. Well, then friggin' do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think with like with the younger people as well, like it's sort of about mindset, and
Yeah.
mindsets are hard to fix by logicking your way out of it.
Mm.
You can if you have a mindset where it's like, oh well, like let's say, oh, I think of a great video idea, but now YouTube is saturated, oversaturated, some would say, and it's all so full on now, and it's like, well, I've missed the boat, I missed the train. Um,
Oh, that one's, yeah, that one, I appreciate that. Absolutely.
and then it's like, well, it's too late now. And or like, let's say I'm really good at gaming, um, but now the people that are gaming are so intensely active in being in furthering their gaming career that they spend more hours gaming as a job than most people would spend just at work. And like it sort of gets to the point where it's like, well, it's too late. Why bother?
Now, I need to raise awareness to what was said just a second ago.
Mm,
Um, uh, which is when you encounter the moment, and this is actually in relation to what Jesse said before about being quite upset and quite depressed, is in that moment when you have recognition for the thing that it's either too late or this did not go according to plan. The thing
mm,
is that you can you can't obviously rationalize with the thoughts, because the thoughts will just come, the feelings will just come. But what you can do is control your relationship to those thoughts and feelings by saying, well, hang on a moment, focusing on this depression of me missing out on this, or me not getting to experience that because it just did not happen due to chance or due to bad timing or whatever, is not particularly helpful. And I respect that focusing on that bad energy is not helpful from the standpoint of, at the moment, it's stopping my mind from being able to focus on a joyous topic, but instead
mm,
lamenting in this moment of dread or of upset or of depression, when that being in that state certainly won't help you take action on it, because all you'll do is be held down by that base blanket of that emotion and that thought or that feeling. And so really
mm.
it just um, that's sort of it. Just get severe PTSD, get on disability in the game every day for a few years, and then start your professional gaming career. Nero is calling me out, and I don't appreciate it. Fuck you.
I think another thing as well is we get stuck thinking that there's just, we get stuck with what other people perceive to be success.
Mm,
Um
we sure
and
can.
and
Yeah.
it's something that I've like thought about in sort of great deal because I had to plan out some of my life, especially when my plans were shattered. Is what does it mean to me to be successful? Um,
Mm,
and it turns out for me that success is just doing a job where I feel valued in some way. It doesn't have to be extreme, just a little bit of value and respect, and then I'm pretty much happy. Um, and then also uh, having a decent life at home where I get to spend time with friends and I get to help others in any other way.
Yeah.
As long as I have some of those things, and I'm enjoying life to some point. I'm going through ups and downs, whatever, but um, as long as I'm doing okay, to me that's pretty successful, especially in the current climate that I'm in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Getting caught up missing milestones. Yeah, that's sort of what I mean. It's like I get caught up that I've missed out on, things that could have happened. But
Yeah,
then, focusing on what really success means to me is really helpful, at least for me.
yeah, which is exactly what Adonia, Adonia, Adonis. Wow, my eyesight is clearly very poor. What Adonis had said, which is that success is different in everyone's eyes. And
Mm.
absolutely, we have a different definition of what it means to succeed. And sometimes that definition is helpful, and sometimes that definition is not helpful. And in the moment where your definition of success is not helpful, it would be unreasonable to see validity and to see value in your response of upset when you don't meet the objective of an unhelpful goal of success, when you could alternatively look at the goal of success, go, is that a method of defining success helpful or not helpful, find it to be unhelpful. If you found it to be unhelpful, would you still do it? And if the answer is yes, well then you're a terrible person. No, but seriously though, you need to be doing what is right or striving to do what is right. And what is right is to make the best possible and most informed decisions while you live on this planet, and to
Mm.
have a meaningful and positively contributing life as much as is possible. Um, and so
Most of the
yeah,
most meaningful things I've done in life, I've stumbled upon. I didn't seek out
yes,
to do them, uh, and it just sort of happened because
yes,
the opportunity was there and I took it, or because I was needed and I dropped whatever I was doing and then I did that thing that I was needed for. And then, looking back at that, I get a sense of fulfillment and that sort of feeling like I did something that really mattered,
yeah,
that purpose.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Also, again, feeling called out by Adonis. Ever procrastinated on something, then do it on the last day before it's due. I would like to ask every psychologist that exists on the planet, do you procrastinate? And I think you'll be shocked that the answer will likely be, yeah, for quite a few things.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
all do it. That's my understanding. If we can have a psychologist chip in and say, well, I identify as a psychologist and no, in which case then it'll be like, doubt. You know that X, press
Yeah,
X for
doubt.
doubt? You'll have a
Yeah.
button programmed and that goes on the screen.
Well, I do know that there's a
Uh,
coping mechanism, like well, that procrastination can be a positive coping mechanism because our brains aren't meant to, like, I'm not a psychologist, but this is something I'm pretty sure on and have heard other psychologists say, is that,
yes.
and when it comes to things that are that far into the future, right, like a few months even, we're people weren't made for that, right? We didn't evolve to do that sort of thing, and so what ends up happening is, as because we can't address it here and now and we're not going to get results here and now. We sort of put it off till later, and then when it comes to, and the sort of the need to do it sort of builds up to the point where it's like, okay, now the need to do it can overcome the fact that I want to do other things instead.
Yeah.
And so I think it's perfectly natural, um, and probably good for you in some
Y-
ways.
yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Thanks for hanging around, Jesse. Much appreciated. All the best. And yes, also, Adonis, your story is changing. Whose story is changing, my friend? Um, you have me worried now. You have me very worried. If we've spotted some inconsistencies somewhere here, maybe there is an imposter among us. Um, we'll
Hmm.
soon find out. That's it. The real Daniel left before, and this fake one has arrived. Um,
Ah,
I could do that. I could do that. I could be in another room doing the
press
voiceover
X.
for this. You don't know who's
Press
in the
X for
Fox at the
that.
moment. Press X for doubt. Unless you're wired overly, unless you're a wired overly orderly person, yes. People
Um,
didn't evolve for a schedule over a month. All farming and much hunting requires preparation several
yeah, and
seasons in advance.
none of that
Yes.
happened. None of that happened more than, 30,000 years ago. We weren't farming. We weren't hunting like that.
Yeah,
We were hunting
farming.
differently.
Yeah. There's a few things that were different there, but you are absolutely correct that about mentioning human evolution into this. Unless, of
Mm.
course, we have religious people in the chat, in which case, sorry for any offense that's going to be had with what I'm about to say. But
Sorry for your
when we were mongoloids and troglodytes and cavemen, cave women, um, we we our minds were obviously designed for survival. And we still have that brain today. It's in the back part of the brain. There's the frontal part of the brain and the back part of the brain. And that part hasn't developed much at all since then to now. And that's where we get all our fight, flight, freeze, and shutdown responses from. And all of those very primal instincts come from that part of the brain. Whereas the front part is all your cognitive related things. And that part, again, it's very slow to evolve, but it does evolve just very, 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 very slowly. And so
Mm.
it is right to mention those sorts of things, um, but we would need to sort of clarify what it is that we're referring to and then look up the evidence to support or deny that because
Yeah, I mean, I could do that. Like in obviously in today's day and age, it's sort of a different sort of thing. And as Estella says here, if you're wired as an overly orderly or overly conscientious person,
yeah.
absolutely, definitely,
Mm,
you're going to be able to, by definition, put to the side what you want to do, so that you can, uh, complete tasks in a orderly manner. Um, but I think. I think most people sort of don't work that way.
yeah.
And the ones that do work that way, they're sort of making themselves do it, if that makes sense. And so the higher thinking part of the brain sort of is in control in those moments. But unless you can control yourself with that higher thinking part of the brain,
Yep. Yep.
you're not gonna do that. You're gonna do whatever's sort of there and then and for you.
Yep.
Everyone is unique. Absolutely. That's the whole sort of point there.
Yes.
Is that some people are in fact orderly and they do that sort of stuff naturally, whereas others, like myself,
And
have to
myself.
work pretty have to work pretty hard to push to the side all of those um, say current wants, the desire that's in front of me, whether that desire be, oh, I feel like writing something down. I feel like educating myself on this or that, as opposed to maybe cleaning up my room or doing the dishes or doing the lawns or something.
I'm feeling
Um,
attacked.
and
Yeah.
procrastination. It's
Personally
like, yeah.
attacked. Personally attacked. I could say I'm going to do all these things and end up sketching or playing a video game. Yes, absolutely.
Mm. I was
Absolutely.
um I was watching there's a popular YouTuber psychologist person, Dr. K. I think
Dr.
his
K.
name is Healthy Gamer GG on YouTube. Um, and the way that he tries to deal with people always succumbing to those wants or needs in one of his videos was to start doing things for other people. And that is one way that you can build up your ability to be more conscientious and more orderly is do things for others, because it's a lot easier to do things for others and put your needs to the side for somebody else than it is to put your needs to the side just so that you can have a clean room.
Interesting.
I think that's a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah. That's very interesting. You know what's also interesting and totally unrelated to this topic? Because I do that every time. Rode had this little mixing desk thing that did not, I don't think it had XLR inputs unless it did. I can't remember if it was called the Procaster or not. And that seems like a smart idea, getting that, because that has little volume faders in it. And I could mute myself while you're talking and do the little fadey thing, controlling the software with that. And maybe configure some of the other buttons to do the other things. And I thought, ooh, but then possibly not. So I don't know. I'm just an idiot. All right, we all know that. We are perfectly well aware that I am an idiot. Favorite ice cream flavor? So if I was at an ice cream shop, I'd have to answer you once I was done picking all of my ice creams, and then I sampled all of them and then walked out, because sometimes you are just in the mood for something that's really good and then they don't have it, and then you're not aware of it, but then you'll see something else that you're just like, now that right there is my favorite flavor. So creme brulee is pretty good.
Butterscotch and Irish cream.
Wow.
That'll
with
do
you.
it for me.
I'm with you.
That'll do it for me.
I'm with you.
Every time. If that ice cream shop has it, I will get it every time. So that must be my favorite.
Bailey's and ice cream.
Oh, I do terribly at riddles. Bailey's ice cream, yes. 100% yes. I do terribly at riddles. Throw one at us.
Bailey's I really want Bailey's. Like really badly.
That probably didn't come through.
Bailey's
too good at this.
ASMR.
You like Bailey's?
You like Bailey's? Ever drank Bailey's from a shoe? Ever been to a club where people wee on each other?
No, sir, I can't say that I have.
Do you love me?
What?
What? What do you think of me? I think I don't know. But just you make an assessment.
Make an assessment. What runs but never walks? Has a mouth but never eats? Has a bed but never sleeps? What am I?
What the
Oh, I know the answer.
What? What runs but never walks?
I think I know the
has a
answer. I
mouth?
suck at these, so I might be completely wrong. But
What has a mouth but never eats? Has a bed but never sleeps? But never sleeps. What runs but never walks? What runs but never walks? Has a mouth but never eats.
there's an Ed Sheeran song actually that is that I think he did a song with Eminem, and actually, the first thing, what runs but never walks, sort of triggered that song in my mind, and I think I got it from that.
Wow.
That's a weird way to answer a riddle, I think.
You're messed up. You're messed up. You make no sense.
Oh no.
I really want food.
Can I can I guess?
You
Can
guess,
I guess
because
the
I
answer?
don't, I'll never know. I was gonna guess a refrigerator because a refrigerator runs but it doesn't walk. But a refrigerator does not have a bed, so I'm already lost. Okay.
A mouth of the refrigerator.
I don't
Ooh.
know. I.
Mm. Ah.
What the fuck?
A river.
A river.
You know
Oh, a
the
river
river
has a
bed, the
mouth.
mouth of the river,
Oh, for
and
bloody. Oh, are you kidding
the
me?
rivers the running water, the
Oh,
river run.
you,
I
you
think that's right.
absolute,
Adonis, did I get it?
you absolute pelican. Of course. Oh my goodness.
Ah, good.
Uh, he's a smart one. He is a smart one. He is a
What's
smart one.
Australia's most famous river? That's a good question. I
Um,
know what the most famous local river is.
I'm gonna guess the Murray. Surely the Murray. Murray
Mm.
River.
Yeah, in Victoria, everybody knows where the Murray River is.
Yeah, but also everyone from New South knows where the Murray is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the Murray's Queensland and sorry, why am I saying Queensland? The Murray is on the border of New South and Vic, so that it is the border. So you've
Mm.
at least got more people knowing what the Murray is.
Mm.
Um,
And most of Australia's population's in those two states.
yes,
So
so
yeah, it would be the Murray
I'd
River.
say that is the most famous river.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong because it could be like the Yarra.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, everyone knows the Yarra because it's the most polluted river in the world.
Ah,
Ah,
so brown.
oh yeah,
So
it's
gosh brown.
delicious. Hello, I want
Uh,
some chocolate, please.
oh yes. My
Okay.
chocolate, my beautiful chocolate.
Oh yeah, that's right, the chocolate river. Yeah, well, we've got one of those chocolate
Peace,
rivers.
hell, murder.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. I would think that it would be the Murray. What do you call an alligator in a vest? Well,
An investigator.
oh you, oh, you're sick. You sicken me. You sicken me.
Am I right?
Why ask? Why ask? Why ask?
Oh. I think we just lost 3 people from watching the stream because of that one thing.
Oh, you kidding me? Yeah, righto. Goodbye, everyone. Okay.
I think I might have some of these.
What, some of the things that he's coming up with? Wouldn't surprise
Uh,
me. Oh, absolutely, you are pathetic. Oh dear. Yeah, I don't know. Uh, we haven't got an answer on that famous river, so that could be anything. But anyway, that's a mystery. I don't trust stairs. They're always up to something. That just makes me want to. That just
oh,
makes me want to neck myself. I'm not gonna lie.
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got different kinds of jokes over here. I've got
Oh.
look, I'm not saying your perfume is too strong. I'm just saying the canary was alive before you got here. The canary lives alive. Like in the mines when they have a canary, the oxygen leaves the room,
Yeah.
it dies.
Yeah. Trust me, dude. I got it. Unfortunately. And then I took it personally because I just imagined me
Uh,
walking into the room with the fox.
uh,
It's just like. I thought that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. So yeah.
Ooh, that's an interesting little factoid.
What? Murray is the longest in Australia. Yes. I remember something like that, except for when it was no longer the longest river because like it was drought. So,
Yeah.
no longer a river because it was no longer congruous. So there was that as well. Yes. Do you think I should, Daniel? Do you think I should zoom the camera into my beard follicles and
Yes.
do beard follicle ASMR?
Yes.
Very well.
Is your fridge running? Oh no. I don't think so. It's on. It's running.
Very well. Perhaps I should have checked if I had anything on my face or up my nose by this point. Hello.
Go after it then.
Actually, do I have something on my teeth? Oh shit, I do too.
Wow.
Why am I checking that on camera? My apologies. Why is this even a stream? Why are we doing this? After then you fell for it. Oh, that's unfortunate. I like how I zoom
Yes.
in. I like how I zoom into
You have
myself.
to move down a bit so they can stare at your beautiful eyes. There
Very
we go.
well.
I like how the delay for me is only a few seconds now. That's actually quite nice.
Yes.
I'm glad that that is better.
It's there, isn't it? That's the point. It's here. There you go. Eyes. They are very blue, aren't they?
Blue and yellow.
You can see the eye on the left of the screen will dilate if I do this. See that?
Yeah, there it is. Your aperture is breathing. You might need to check that. We need the update.
Yes. That's perfect with mic in frame too. Yes. What did the grape do when it got stepped
It let
on?
out a little whine.
Oh. That upsets me.
Here's one for you. A computer is like air conditioning.
What?
It becomes useless when you open Windows.
That's a Mac nerd one.
Or Linux.
Hi
That's not
guys,
deep.
I'm an Apple user. I reign superior. Yeah, dude. Oh my goodness! I tell you what, I've seen plenty of ASMR videos, and when I was doing a tiny little bit of research, and they were like, "Hello, I'm going to do this." I don't understand it. How could you do that?
And so, what you want to do is get the most lip slacking that you can possibly get.
No, that doesn't come through. I don't think, Daniel.
It doesn't come through.
Oh no, that did.
Oh no, I'll just have to turn up the gain ever so slightly
There you go.
and make sure that you can hear all the sounds of the saliva that's pooling in my mouth because I'm making an ASMR video.
Thanks for tuning. Oh, that's so funny. What did the fisherman say to the magician? Pick a cod, any cod. It's really smart. That's really smart, dude. You
Ah,
sound so weird. I'm so sorry. Halambena. The halambena.
the other day I popped a balloon because I was bored, and everyone's face on the hot air balloon was just.
That's not right. That's not right at all, Daniel. That's actually quite messed up. Um,
Well, I guess you see where my sense of humor goes.
your psychologist must love you. You're a regular client. You are a regular client. How zoomed in should I make my microphone? Look at
I
that.
think
Look how
that's
clear
actually
that is.
perfectly
Look at
perfect.
look at how clear that is.
Mm.
That's a lot of clear. You can see you can see how old my suit is, judging by all the threading being all loose there. There you go.
Yeah, time to get it
Oh, I need.
redone,
Yeah, well, I
retailored.
would. Hey, if people decide for some reason that they want to do Patreon, maybe one day at the end of like 2, 3, 4 years, I can afford to get my fox um, rejuvenated.
Mm.
That would be lovely. I used to work for a calendar company. I got fired for taking days off. uh, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, why do people do that noise with their mouth?
What
Like you're
noise?
just doing ASMR, and it's supposed to have that feeling of tingles and
Mm,
relaxation and all that good stuff.
doesn't relax me.
And then the lip slapping and the saliva noise. It's
However,
just
however, um,
why?
is that perhaps why people have been quite liking my ASMR videos?
You have very minimal of it though.
No, no, no. That's what I'm saying is that because mine don't have it as much,
Mm,
that people
okay.
go, "Hey, this is actually sort of what we originally wanted."
Yeah, this is what we asked for.
Yes.
The other one we just sort of dealt with because it was close enough.
Ah, that's unfortunate.
And so, yeah, you might just be producing the only good ASMR on YouTube.
That's also very unfortunate.
Mm.
I'll do all of my ASMR videos zoomed up to my face.
Oh, that one was particularly bad. Oh,
I'm
oh,
afraid for my calendar. Its
oh.
days are numbered.
There's not enough groaning I can do for that level of bad joke. Andrew
It's
will come out
really
of the
good.
woodwork and say stuff like that, and I'll just go, "Oh,
There's not no. There's
you're
nothing wrong
so
with that.
fired. Get out. The
There's
door is
so
that way."
there's so nothing wrong with that. It's really good. I quite like it. I quite like it. I've also noticed. You see that vein that's there on the side of my face? I've noticed that a few times now. Every time I pull Fox off, it's always like right there. See that? See that?
Mm.
Yeah. How weird's that? Getting old now, man. I'm getting old. I feel the groans. Yes. I'm gonna go put Fox back on. ASMR.
I can't hear
Yeah.
it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah. 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 That's right. That's right. Yeah. We'll fix that one day. We'll fix Daniel's microphone so he can produce ASMR goodness for you all as well.
Ooh, oh, he's so cute. Oh, he's so cute. He's a floppy boy.
What did the ocean say to the beach? Nothing. It just waved.
Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. Yeah, that's disgusting. You'll suck. it's, it's really
I
stupid.
wonder if we should do like uh if we should talk about a topic of deepness.
I think for the next video we do.
Ah, yes.
But yeah,
I
again,
will never understand those jokes. Actually, there's an excellent audiobook which has done by Stephen Fry,
oh,
where
that's right. You said you're listening to one, didn't you?
he actually goes into puns
Oh, okay.
and the dad jokes and all that sort of thing. And he talks about how we don't know why people like them, but perhaps it is because it's like celebrating failure because nobody laughed. And instead, all you get is this collective sigh of oh, groans, and
So,
like,
so
yeah,
do you think that it's this celebrated love of pessimism, it's this celebrated love of upset? It's like I have brought disdain onto the mass of people. Yay. You know what I mean?
I don't know why.
I'm
Yeah,
only in my
yeah,
25 letter of the alphabet. I don't know why. Oh, I get it. That's quite smart. I like that.
yeah. But it's like every Christmas we do this, right? We get the bonbons,
Oh yeah.
the crackers, and we like pull them, and we get a joke that's not funny. But
Yeah.
imagine if the joke was funny,
Imagine.
and you just suck at telling jokes.
Oh,
And so everyone else
yeah.
does it right, and it comes down to you, and you just say it so badly, so poorly timed
Uh,
that everyone just sort of goes, huh, huh.
that's unfortunate.
So yeah, maybe it's better that way, I think, where the jokes are not funny. So you all get to collectively enjoy the fact that you're failing, even
Yeah.
though it's a piece of paper that fails.
Hello,
Yeah,
I wish to present you a cue card for failure. It will help you in life. What? Yes, it's called
I'm
a
afraid of
Christmas. It's called a
talking in front
Christmas
of
card.
crowds. I would be a stuttering mess. Does a crowd in also mean like because I don't because there's different levels of that. Like, are you afraid of talking in front of maybe 20 of your relatively close relatives?
Yes.
I mean, when they're all staring at me, I am.
Yes.
I feel like, hey guys, you want to look somewhere else for a second so I can speak?
That'd be nice.
Hmm.
Daniel.
Everyone has its own taste of jokes. Someone may not understand your yeah, yeah. If they stare at you, it's worse. Yes, it's so much worse.
Yes.
That's why I'm able to do these live streams. I guess, like, if we were in a room and randomly people were just coming in and sitting down and watching us talk with each other, and I got to see them looking at us, my goodness. And then it gets to like 20 people in a room, and then suddenly we say something, and then half of them just walk out.
Oh my god.
Ah,
I
that
think
would be the worst experience.
I think seeing them walk out would be the most difficult part, but having them come in for me, actually, I think I would manage okay.
I would manage okay. And
Assuming that I'm
and
in the fox suit.
oh,
If I was not,
that's interesting.
then maybe I would fail. I don't know.
Just let me hide. Now that I've got all of your attention, please watch me disappear. Mm. Uh, yeah, it's
That's
something
great.
that
Oh,
it's something
great.
that I actually helped myself a lot with by Roxy was eating. Oh gosh, oh not this again.
Oh no.
Shaking and sweating and feeling so scared. Yeah, I was never at that point, but I did have quite a lot, and still do have quite a bit of anxiety around social interactions. And one of the ways that I really helped myself with that sort of thing, is I actually went busking.
Yes.
Um, Not that I'm a particularly good singer or guitarist, but I'd go out and I'd just make some music. And, if people would stand and watch or like just walk past, put money, don't put money, whatever, I would just do it. And And overthinking is my enemy too, absolutely. But it's really hard to overthink when all of your brain power is being used into playing an instrument and singing and trying to make sure that you kind of sound okay. And so all of my brain was occupied. And every now and then people would come around and just give me compliments. So that was really nice.
Give me
And after doing that for quite a while, and people would stop and listen, have a chat with me afterwards and whatever.
Yes.
And yeah, it's quite nice.
My
Just in front of one person.
my AirPods did that thing where it says the battery is low, which normally means we're at the point where we were normally wrapping up with our streams, but we have not done that, and it's now 2 hours and 51 minutes. So what we might do, I think, is possibly wrap up for this stream for the day, because we've made people think, we've made people question, and I've made myself question by doing this to my camera and this to my microphone. It's a good look. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Are you looking? Can you see it? I'm an idiot.
Oh dear.
I reckon there would actually be no shortage of people who would actually pay to watch that.
Yeah, that's what the Patreon videos will be for.
Oh, that's what the Patreon videos are for.
When they suggest things and we're like, yeah, we're not doing that on stream. And then you're like, you just make a little video of it.
Oh, and the
don't
video is
let your
only
brains go
available.
where I knew it just did. Do not do that.
Oh no, and it didn't until you said that, and then it did, because then it went, ooh, oh.
Anything ASMR, Patreons only.
Yes.
Yeah, that's worth it. That's worth it.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, there you go. So we can do, oh, of course, personal Patreon for the ASMR. I'd do that. I'd do that. I'd do that.
Anxiety being a common thing. Maybe we should just do a stream about how we each deal with anxiety next time.
I've already done that, but we can do a stream about it.
Because you don't, yeah, I know you've done a video, but we
streamed.
haven't done a stream,
Yeah, we haven't done a
like
stream
where
about
we
it.
both talk about it. Yeah. I want to hear that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think you've got your Patreon videos sorted,
I've got my Patreon.
or at
videos
least 2 of them.
I just need to get people to support me on Patreon.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I just
So maybe we'll try for next Saturday at about 12 o'clock Australian time,
Yes.
Melbourne time.
So at 10 o'clock is the best time to stream because everyone's awake. But the only problem is that you need to be awake at 10 o'clock. And that's,
Do Sunday. What about Sunday?
we could do Sunday. Sunday 10
Yeah,
o'clock.
okay. Yeah, okay, Sunday, next week, 10 o'clock.
But yeah, 10 o'clock seems to be the best time to do it. But are we gonna call it? Are we gonna call it like an anxiety thing? Is that what we're discussing? What are we discussing?
We'll just talk about how we cope with anxiety and how we try to make that happen for ourselves where it just works out. And how maybe, yeah, we just call it coping with anxiety or helping with anxiety, something like that.
Living with anxiety.
Living with anxiety.
Living with anxiety.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Bonus content, Foxy hits a microphone. Only if you support me on Patreon. Suck shit.
Yeah,
I
that
could
sounds
do-
like a really good plan.
I could do sneezing on microphone. I just need a lot of chili, but if I have a lot of chili, I tell you what, that's me done. Oh yeah, that goes
Just
straight up my
grind pepper
nostrils.
into the air.
Ah,
Just pepper everywhere.
Yes. Okay,
This
very
Foxy
good.
needs some seasoning.
Of course I do. Okay, thank you everyone for watching, and we will catch you all on the next stream. And be good, keep well, and look forward to seeing you again soon. And I do have a Patreon, so if that seems like something that you'd want to support, put some thought into it. And if there's some things that you have any suggestions with in regards to videos at the moment, put some thought into it. But we're going to make this happen, and everything's going to be very wonderful. The channel's going to be a great place where we all get to connect with each other, and a supportive place as well, and a place where I zoom unnecessarily into my foxy face, which is very strange. But anyway, moving on. Thank you again for watching, and we'll catch you next time.